and welcome to the Kidsgrove local news. In the headlines today, a young worker at Clough Hall Colliery, owned by Mr Kinnersley, has fallen down a mine shaft.
Aged just 4, George Winston has worked hard every day to help his family, but now a broken leg has left him crippled. Today we will look at the working conditions within collieries and their impact on life in Kidsgrove.
What happened is during the 19th century, as it went on and the mining disasters got worse, because what happened was they started out making small pits that weren't too deep, and so they didn't employ that many men. So if there was an accident, it didn't kill that many. But when you get big things like Birchen Wood or Talk of the Hill, they were mining deep seams, and that made them more dangerous, and they were also employing a lot more men. So you could have accidents where hundreds of men died. Well, of course, then it becomes far more important that you obey the rules. So gradually through the 19th century, they started having rules, and they then had to employ people to go and see that they were obeyed. So yes, they did have rules, and they got stricter as time went on. But the problem is that coal mining is an extremely dangerous occupation anyway. And so even though they had rules, there were still huge mining disasters. You see the mini pit disaster not too far away took place in 1918. And there was, I think, a Sneed colliery disaster in 1940s. You know, so that it still went on being very dangerous.
What were the living conditions like for the miners?
I mean, they would think they were all right. But there are not that many original Kidsgrove miners' houses left now. The only ones left really are, is it 10 Row, just above the town hall? If you look at those little row cottages there, those are miners' cottages. And they would have just 2 rooms downstairs and 2 rooms upstairs and a sort of outdoor toilet and a coal shed. And that was it. And you could have in that, so 11 people living. You know, imagine that, you wouldn't have your own bedroom. You know, you'd be sharing a bedroom with 9 of your brothers and sisters. Can you imagine, you know, that? No wonder the miners went out to drink. No wonder the kids spent a lot of time outside as well. The other thing that we do know about it is, eventually, the Kidsgrove had a medical officer whose job it was to go around and inspect nuisances. You can sort of imagine what nuisances were. And he said for the main part of Kidsgrove, the bit going down Atwood Street, Heathcote Street, and all that area, he said it was appalling because they'd all got these little toilets, buckets in the backyard, and the stuff would ooze out into the streets and into the houses below. Doesn't do to think about this. And at one time as well, the medical officer went down to Hardings Wood, to the canal, and he said there were several putrid dead dogs floating around in the basin there. And the people didn't have fresh water, a lot of them didn't have taps. They'd have one tap for a whole street full of people. So you had to go and wait for it with a bucket and whatever. So the conditions must have been dreadful. But at the time, you see, it wouldn't be anything uncommon. If you thought you got a house, you know, for the family, that was all well and good. And no doubt they did try and brighten them up with pictures and little pottery figurines and whatever. But, you know, we'd look at their houses now and think, oh, crikey. How did they manage?
Hello, this is Maryhill News. On this date in 1838, local benefactor Thomas Kinnersley opened Kidsgrove Sunday School. We have got exclusive archive footage of this day.
Hello, I'm Thomas Kinnersley, and I'd like to welcome you all to the opening of the Kidsgrove Summer School, which I paid for myself. I've decided to build this so I can repay the hard work of everybody who I employ here. Wow! And now we hear from a local historian, Mr. Lees.
So it was the making of Kidsgrove, because all the other things depend upon the original employment, and so that's how Kidsgrove grew.
And that's all from me, James Fennell.
And me, Natalie Slater. Until next time, bye-bye.
Clough Park in Guardians was opened on Whit Monday 1890. There was a huge crowd, dancers and 3 brass bands. Special trains were laid out and a medal was given to all the people that went on that day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening at the Clough Pleasure Garden.
The most famous person by far was Blondie, who came for several years, in fact, a couple of years. But they had umpteen other artists who must have been very famous at the time, but we don't know so much about them. But they're a wonderful selection of people. There was somebody called Alar the Human Arrow, who got fired from some crossbow into a net, presumably. Quite late on, they had somebody called Darty, who looped the loop on a bicycle. He got a specially developed bike, and start up there, come zooming down the track and go whee, upside down without falling off, hopefully, and zoom off the other end.
Good evening, you are watching MH News at 8 PM. Tonight's breaking story is the unexpected murder of William Smith. We will now cross live to the scene of the crime. Over to you, Tom.
Thanks, Adam. Here I am at the scene of the crime. Please give me some key information on this incident. Today at Club 4, there's a miners' demonstration late at night when witness Bertha Peters, wife of an acrobat at Ball Bay Circus, which are performing in Burslem this week, asked victim William Smith to walk her back to the train station so she could catch the next train back to Burslem. While they were walking down the drive of Club 4, 3 men, one big, one medium, one small, leapt from the bushes and hit both of them on the head. There, Bertha fainted. When she awoke, she saw William with a cut on his head, pouring with blood. She screamed for help, but people thought she was drunk. When they realised what had happened, a policeman and a doctor were called, but William was pronounced dead at the scene. William has left a wife and 5 children. Police are thinking what could have happened. It was a domestic incident, not murder, but manslaughter. Police are asking anyone with any information to please come forward. Back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Tom. If anybody does know anything, please contact the police or call 08745 621 839. This has been your evening news with me, Adam Campbell. Thank you and good night.